This video is a demonstration of the Elastos Console. Elastos Console offers a gateway for the developers to get acquainted with the Elastos blockchain and the Elastos infrastructure in general. The Elastos Console provides several services directly on the console, some of which includes uploading and reading files to and from the Elastos Hive, signing and verifying a message using DID sidechain, and a demonstration that showcase transfer of ELA from one wallet to another. For the development of the console, we have used React.js for the front end, and on the back end we have used Python with Flask framework. Let me start with the repositories that we have used for the development. We have used two repositories, one of which is GMU Web Console. This has the code for the front end written in React.js. The web console runs default on the port 3000. The README file has a description on how to set up the console. Coming to the next repository, GMU Master API Service. This repository contains the backend code written in Python and Flask framework. We have used PostgreSQL Server for the database. The Master API Service default runs on the port 8888. It is integrated with the Swagger UI. So the Swagger UI lists different APIs that are exposed as part of the Master API service. So each of these APIs has a documentation on what is the sample request and the response that the API is expecting. So next, coming to the console. So the console is listing the different services that it provides on the left side. So the first one is the generate API key. Each of the services that are exposed as part of the Elastos console requires an API key for validation. So the generate API key service allows the developer to generate an API key. So this generates a 32-bit random string. So this API key is used for using any other service in the Elastos console. Coming to the next service, which is the file upload. So each service on the Elastos console has a documentation which includes the sample request and the response that the API expects, and also a code snippet on how the service has been developed. The main purpose of this code snippet is for the developer to see how the service has been developed so that he could use a similar approach for the development of any other service. So coming to the file upload, the file upload requires two input, one of which is API key and another one is the file. So for the demonstration, I'm using a sample API key. I'm choosing the file that I want to upload. So when the file is uploaded, you could see on the right side which says the status is success, and the response has the name file and the hash key of the actual file. So this file upload service uploads the file to the Elastos Hive as a clear text, and it returns the hash key of the file. So the next coming to the next service, which is the show file content. The show file content requires two input, one of which is the hash key. So I'm pasting the hash key of the file that I uploaded just now, and the next input is the API key. So this displays the content of the file on the right side. Similarly, this also has the documentation and the code snippet on how this service has been developed. Coming to the next service, which is upload and sign. So the upload and sign service actually integrates two different things. One of the first part is the upload, which uploads the file to the Elastos Hive, and the second part is the file that the content of the file is being signed using the DID sidechain. So this requires the input API key and the private key, which is used to sign the content of the file. So once the file is uploaded, on the right side you could see the response. This response contains the output of the signing, which is the hash message, the public key, and the signature. And it also has the hash of the file that is uploaded to the Hive. So the next service is the verify and show content. The verify and show content verifies the content using the DID sidechain, and if the verification is successful, then it displays the content of the file. So this requires the input of the message hash, public key, signature, and the hash. I would copy these input so that I could use it for the next service. So coming to the verify and show content. The verify and show content requires the API key, and it also requires the private key. So the private key here is used to verify whether the message was actually signed by using this user. And then it requires the message hash, public key, signature, and the hash key of the file. So this service first verifies the message on the DID sidechain. If the verification is successful, then it displays the content of the file. So coming to the next service, which is sign a message. This service signs any message that the user provides using his private key. So this service takes the input API key and the actual message, and then the private key. So now the message has been signed and you get the message hash, public key, and the signature as the response. In order to verify the message, we need this input. So I'm just copying this input to my notepad. So the next service is verifying a message. So I'm trying to verify the message I just added. So I'm providing the API key as one of the inputs, and then the message hash, public key, and the signature. So we could see the response on the right side, which says success, and the result is true, which means that the message was successfully verified. Coming to the next service, which is transfer ELA demo. So this transfer ELA demonstration, what it does is it creates a wallet and it transfers 100 ELA from a preloaded wallet to the newly created ones. And as a response, it gives us the private key and public key of the newly created wallet and the transaction ID. So this takes the API key as the input. So on the response, you could see the sender's address and the amount, and the receiver's address. This is the new wallet that has been created. So this shows us the private key, public key, and the address of the newly created wallet. It also gives the transaction ID for the transaction. Coming to the next one, which is the documentation. So this documentation integrates the Swagger EI, which I showed you earlier. So each of these APIs that have been exposed has a documentation included in it as well. And then the last one is the About Us, which has a description of what Elastos Console is. That's it. So thank you for watching the video.